and greetings once again. Welcome to our program, The Silence of Our Friends. That's right. You are tuned into, if you will, you are a part of the listenership and the viewership of our podcast, The Silence of Our Friends. We are taking the time to remain unsilent. That's right. And I said it exactly the way I intended it. Notice most people, when they use the phrase remaining or the word remaining and the next word is silent, but we're remaining unsilent. We're retraining ourselves not to be silent on the issues of racial injustice, the racial issues and turbulence that have affected grossly these yet to be United States of America. Good evening. It's Monday evening. We air this podcast live each Monday evening at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time or thereabout. So we're here tonight to take the time, if you will, to help us increase our footprint, to increase our stance, our position as far as the electronic mode is concerned. The electronic world, another world altogether. And we need voices. We need people who are present, who have something to say to affect this current age, to affect our generation and our time with rightful thinking and rightful precepts. And so we are here for that reason and for that purpose. If you're over on the YouTube side, if you would now, make sure you have subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, do so now, please. And whenever you come back, if you haven't subscribed, it costs you nothing, but it helps us to increase our space and our volume as far as the electronic world and our socials are concerned. So make sure, if you will, to subscribe and then press the notification bell. That will notify you each time we're releasing a new podcast and a new stream. If you're over on the Facebook side, we welcome you. Thank you for being in our audience tonight. We appreciate you. The comment section is yours, both on YouTube and Facebook. Please give us show ideas. I'm receiving ideas all of the time, movie notices all of the time, printouts much of the time, articles much of the time, documents relative to factoids as far as our history as black and browns are concerned in these United States of America. I have a book here. This is an article that was passed on to me. There's a book here that was passed on to me, and I'm reading it, Teaching Tolerance. That's someone's gift to me. There's another book here just right on this table, and there's much electronic information I've received, The Color of Compromise, another book given me, and I appreciate that so very, very much from our audience. Thank you so very much. If you're over on the YouTube side, please make certain and like us. If you are following us, that's generally speaking a ministry page. You can go back to our ministry pages and follow those ministry pages, check in from time to time, and then most of all, share and give us a thumbs up or a like and comment. That really helps us to understand where we're going. The Silence of Our Friends. The show topic tonight, the election 2020. I'm going to be doing election addresses, if you will, a show addressing where we stand as black and brown people in America up until the election, the first Tuesday in November 3rd. And so that's roughly 5 or 6 days away, not a lot of time. And we have a lot of work to do. Here we are, the election 2020 tonight, specifically voter apathy. Ellipsis, does my vote matter? I want to answer that question in very quickly in short order. Does my vote matter? If your vote did not matter, the suppressionists would not go through the trouble they have gone through to silence your vote. Just think about it. No one goes through this much pressure, this much of an opportunity, seizes this much of an opportunity to suppress the vote if the vote, and I'm going to be very specific tonight, if the black and brown vote did not and does not matter. I took a course at the University of Florida while a student there, and I will never forget it. And the book was entitled, the professor had written the book, and that's one thing if you're in a university. You will quickly find that most of the professors there are also authors of their own material that addresses the particular subject in which they find their profession. and levels of professionalism. And his name was Dr. I'll never forget him, Richard Scher, Scher, I believe. I don't know whether he's still alive or on the planet, but he was influential in my life. And the title of his book was Voter Apathy. Voter Apathy. And it was then that I learned as a 19-year-old what it meant to be apathetic. Apath. Y is the word apathy, and apathetic is its derivative. And it means literally to, it's more than not caring. It's more than being unaffected. We would say colloquially, it's more than being asleep. It's being coached into being asleep. It's being coached into being unaffected. It's factors, certain systematic factors that have gone into play. And I'm going to add this with intention to cause a certain demographic, a certain people, a certain community not to care, to be unaffected. But I will tell you this. Politics affects everything. And I need to speak very quickly and plainly tonight. Politics affects everything. I remember moving to the state of Alabama, a place I promised my wife I would never live, because as a young boy growing up and watching the video footage of the heinousness of oppression, the oppressive heinousness that was taking place in Birmingham, Alabama, the cradle of the civil rights movement. I was just after that, but in school we learned about it. We watched the video footage, so forth and so on. I knew there would be vestiges. I knew there would be leftovers, results of that kind of Jim Crowism and that kind of discrimination. And so I promised my wife, I did not know. I thought we were supposed to live in Chicago, to be honest with you, and I was trying to get there. And I promised her we would not live in Birmingham, Alabama. Long story short, because of the reasons that I said. I love Birmingham and Birminghamians after having lived here for some time now, and it's been a great experience. But the thing I want to help us understand is that people can sometimes become very apathetic in a situation when certain things, certain factors have gone on for so long. If certain things endure they have the tendency to wear people down or to wear people out. And so it is with voter apathy. People have become systematically entrenched in the idea that their vote doesn't matter. And again, please keep the underscored in mind. If your vote didn't matter, why would the suppressionists go through the trouble they have to keep people from the voting booth? And as I was beginning to say, as time moved on, I was called to start a ministry in Bessemer, Alabama. And what I was told historically is that a new church building had not of major size had not been built in Bessemer, Alabama. I think the number was either 50, 75, or 100 years. I'm not exactly certain. It might be a little foggy on that. So with great resistance and great perseverance from God Almighty, we were able to build that particular building and many buildings since then. That building cost us almost $2 million, and it was the first project. Our church was only 2 years old. We built it in 3, paid it off from a 21-year mortgage. To God be the glory. He gets all the credit in about 12 years. And so when we were building that building, and this is to my point, politics affects everything. Whether you are apathetic, whether you are woke or sleep, politics is affecting you while we're speaking now. And we came to the place where, and I don't talk about this much, and maybe I should more, after the building was about 85, 90% completed, it was discovered that the lines, the water lines, were 5/8 of an inch, and we needed 2-inch water lines to flush all of the commodes. They didn't have any buildings that were close enough to where this church was located, this building was located, that had the kind of voluminous pressure that we needed to flush the commodes that were in this building. Now, the thing of it was that the water lines we needed were Walmart, where it was at the time. I think it was. And it was about 2 miles down the road. And at that time, I was meeting with the then mayor once a month. We had a standing meeting, and we would pray together and talk. And it was under raps. Not a lot of people knew. I came to his office quietly. I left quietly, and he was a great man and still with us, Mayor Quitman Mitchell. I mention his name because he was a great man and great influence in the city of Bessemer and in the life of our ministry. And in talking to him, he said, Pastor, I said, man, we're out of money. We're a new church, and I don't cry. I don't bellyache. I was just telling him about it. And our architect didn't know, very connected in the city where we were. No one knew. The general contractor didn't know. None of the subs knew. They just knew to do what the plans called for. But no one took the time to think about what was underneath the ground and that a new building of that size hadn't been built in some time that needed that kind of volume under the ground in the water lines. We needed a 2-inch line. And he said, Pastor, his twin sister belongs to our ministry now, and her husband and family. He said, Pastor, I think there's a grant that I can make happen to get this church opened up, because we were right there. We had timeline set, scheduled, so forth and so on. And it was a $1 million project under the ground nobody knew about. But politics affected it. He was able to secure the grant. We were able to open on time. We had a little delay, but it wasn't really because of that. That was a small factor. But nonetheless, politics, our involvement in the political process, was able to bring us where, how can I be apathetic and how can I allow apathy in my environment? And since then, we've had political forums where political candidates all the way up the ladder, so to speak, have been able to come to our ministry. We've been able to set it up. Our media ministry has made it very exclusive, very nice. We've had debates. We've had the whole nine, because I understand the importance of politics. Well, someone once said, and I will say vote, vote, vote. I'm going to underscore this, that the church should just stay in its corner where it is and not affect politics. Well, someone apparently forgot to tap Jesus on the shoulder, the Son of God, and tell him, because of St. Matthew chapter 5, he said, you are the salt of the earth, and that the salt has lost its savor, its ability to influence its culture, so to speak. It is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and trodden under the feet of men. It was King Ahab who was approached by the prophet Elijah, and Elijah said to him and his evil wife Jezebel, he prophesied her death, and he affected her because the problem was their interaction with Israel disconnected them from God. It was a political truth to power speaking by way of the prophet. Dr. King makes the statement in one of his celebrated addresses, what will be remembered in the end will not be the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And it's from that particular quote that we take and have dubbed our show top title, The Silence, in the effect of the silence of our friends. Nothing in the world, Dr. King says again, and I like to open each show with this, is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. Sincerely ignorant, and in this voting process, you see people, you see political pawns, and you see pundits, and you see people who are spin masters, and some of them are sincerely ignorant. They believe everything that is handed down to them from number 45, from the presidential office, all the way down through every tier of the American governmental process. They believe it all. They believe it. They believe the opticals. They believe what the media is showing them. They're just they're sincere people, but they're ignorant. And then there are the other people, conscientiously stupid. These are the Mitch McConnells. These are the other name that I wanted to throw out there. It'll come to me in a minute. But